Hi, everybody, and
Hey,
welcome to
Dan.
DanCast episode 3. I'm Dan Thompson, your host, and I'm joined by my good friend David T. Allen of G.I. Joe New News and Reviews, and also my co host on Toy Talk, along with our other friend Terry Ruin. So, David, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just been out trying to get some work, some part-time work to keep me busy because I'm kind of bored here at the house. I've got
Well,
nothing else to do.
I'm working on this Knots Landing reboot, and I might have a spot for you as a delivery guy.
Okay,
I told
awesome.
somebody I was going to play Alec Baldwin's son, and I was told we didn't have kids. So I was like, well, crap, that might throw a monkey wrench in my plan. I'm starting a rumor that I'm on a Knots Landing reboot just for fun, just to troll
Okay.
people.
Well,
So,
I am an actor. I've done acting in the past in theater mostly, but I would do that. Sure.
well, I was almost an extra on the new Dallas, which I told you about, and then I had a local guy make a movie that I
No.
was in. I had a really tough role. I had to play a comic book store manager. I had to do a lot of research for that role. It was tough. I did all my own stunts. It was a very incredible experience. So if he's watching, that's like kind of an inside joke because I think Expendables 2 was coming out, and I was doing like my Van Damme, the director asked me to jump off the building, with the helicopter and ring up the customer, like all that stuff. But
Was that in the Street Fighter movie in like Brazil or Argentina?
what that movie I was in?
Yeah.
No, you might be able to watch it there though. But that's probably where they play it. But so I did a couple housekeeping things real quick. So this is a live stream. This isn't one of my like singular episodes, which I haven't done yet. My live streams can run anywhere from about 30 minutes to 2 hours. We're going to try to clock it at about an hour and a half, maybe. But we have a big topic tonight we want to talk about. I wanted to answer a few questions from last week. David's going to monitor the chat for me. So anybody in the chat that would like to make a comment, post question, whatever. We appreciate it. Before we get started, if you watch this live or you watch it, the recording of it, um, I ask that you please hit like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification button. So, a couple questions from last week. I made a Facebook post that my beloved Tony Stark glasses met their end, and that was true. They did die. I had a replacement pair that was literally the Coy and Vance from the Dukes of Hazard, the fake Duke cousins, and it had to go. So I'm wearing my other Tony Stark sunglasses temporarily until the my kind of my costume, if you will, comes back. So yes, that did happen. It was a sad moment. It actually happened after the podcast last week. David can attest that I was pretty shooken up, and I didn't sleep well that night. It was a tough night. So the other question was, was asked this week at the shop, Dan, how did you go from one glass of bourbon to the next glass of bourbon without getting up and getting a refill? Well, that is the magic of movies, my friends. And it's called having two glasses ready to go. And I have that today because we have a long topic. So, and David will probably be laughing quite a bit. And hopefully you folks out there and Dan Land will too. So last week we covered movies from 1971 to 1981, and hopefully we did some justice. I know there's sites that have done this for years and YouTubes that have done it for years and all that, but it's just like our little take on it. And David, and this all started from David's show. We were talking about movies. We ended up talking because this year's a great year for movies. In fact, behind me is He-Man, which is
Zero
relevant,
one.
which is relevant to tonight's topic and this year because there's a He-Man movie coming out, and I hope it's good. It looks fun, and I look forward to taking my wife and son to see it, and whoever else wants to go. Uh,
Did you go see Mortal Kombat 2 last week?
Not yet, man. I'm still recovering from Free Comic Book Day, and we've had a lot of school events going on. I had a big school event today with Wyatt, and so it's just been all over the place. I plan to maybe check that out at some point. To be honest, I wasn't a Mortal Kombat guy. I was more of a Street Fighter guy.
Uh,
So I did when I back in the day, and I don't recommend this because you should pay for your tickets. But younger Dan snuck in with his girlfriend at the time to see the Van Damme Street Fighter movie, and after about 15 minutes, we decided to go do other things. So thank God we didn't pay for that. But so we got to 1981, and David and I had talked about previously there's some key years, man, with movies, and this year we're hoping can be the start of that again. This is kind of, to me, would be kind of like the like 77 to 81, and then hopefully like next year and the year after we start to kind of get into the 82, the 84, the 85, the 87, the 89. Those big tentpole years with movies. So this year we're going to cover 1982. And 1982 was a phenomenal year. For those that weren't alive, I'm sorry, but look it up. It was a cool year. But I wanted to go over a few historical, kind of cultural things that were going on before we get into the movies. So 1982, and these are kind of the get the bad stuff out of the way first because the year gets better. So the world was in a global recession in 1982. Kind of had something to do with the Carter years, the oil embargo, all this like crazy Iran, the Shah of Iran being overthrown, terrorist attacks, all this stuff, in a natural cycle of things. The world was in a global recession. The Reagan economy hadn't kicked in yet. I joke and say it kicked in when he allowed him to do cartoons like He-Man and G.I. Joe. That's what probably did help a lot with the economy, with all the money that was spent. But
Yep.
the world was this was the peak of this recession. But you wouldn't have known it as a kid because everything seemed great because a lot of cool stuff was going on. There was a horrible tragedy with Air Florida. A Boeing 737 crashed into the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., killing everybody aboard. That was a very sad event. The Falkland Islands, the Falkland War started between Argentina and Great Britain over the Falkland Islands. I'm still not really sure why after all these years. And then the Lebanon War started, which tragically the next year, I believe we lost a lot of Marines when the Marine barracks were blown up. But I believe that was in 83, if I remember correctly. Now to the good stuff of 1982. Disney opened Epcot Center, which was a big, big thing in Disney World down in Florida because it was the newest addition to the park. And it was kind of this futuristic place, this big, big dome that looked like a big giant golf ball that you could go in. And then they had like mock areas of countries. And I could tell you some funny stories about my dad trying to ask where the piece of the Great Wall was, and that he was going to kill this guy in the makeshift China. That's a story for another time. But Epcot, we went in '83 to check it out, and it was pretty cool. I'd love to go again. I don't know what's left of it after all the stuff going on. So there was a album that debuted in November of '82. You may have heard of it. It's called Thriller by a guy named Michael Jackson, and it just happened to be the biggest album of all time, of the biggest pop star of all time. And they kind of started. Of course, pop culture's been around as as long as there's been culture, right? But when I say pop culture, I think pop culture for our generation really truly started with '82 with Thriller and Michael Jackson. Because not too long after that, Michael Jackson blew up. You had Prince blow up. You had Madonna blow up. Duran Duran, and excess. U2, Aerosmith came back. Hip hop started. You had all this cool stuff. But 1982 to me is like the 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 foundation. 77 to 81 is like the foundation, and 82 is the frame, just the pop culture that we still have today. Just a lot of cool stuff. And so um, some neat things that started in 1982. The artificial heart was created in 1982. And I was thinking we had the first artificial heart implanted in Louisville, but it was actually, I think, a heart transplant or something. Um, then the personal computer became a thing, which I'm glad, because we're still rolling with those big giant machines here at the Thompson compound with the big tape reels. So that's why I'm operating down here in the basement, because I have to like tie into those old things and hear the like go like in the background and stuff. It's like the freaking Andromeda strain around here. The compact disc, otherwise known as a CD, was created, and that is going to be a big thing in the late '80s, early '90s. Because right now we're still doing vinyl in '82 and something called cassette tapes, which you used to have to take a pencil and do this to rewind it. And there was no like skipping to your favorite song. Eventually they figured out a way to do that, but not for a while. USA Today released their first issue. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that debuted in 1982. And then there's a little channel called MTV that debuted.
I want my rock and
which
roll.
changed the trajectory of music and catapulted stars like Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince, Duran Duran, NXS, U2, and a whole host of others. David Bowie flourished on this channel. Um, and there was a lot of great music that came out in '82, a lot of great TV shows. And then also, we had the debut of Masters of the Universe with He-Man, which again you can see behind me, which is relevant to this year because we have a new He-Man movie coming out, or I should say a He-Man movie coming out.
He
The
Man
last the last time we had
and the
one,
Masters of the Universe.
last time we had one was back in what '87, and some people hate that movie. I love it. I think it's fun. I get why it gets the hatred, but I think Frank Langella's Skeletor is pretty BA. And then we had something that if you know me, and probably David, you might know he's a fan of this too. Something called G.I. Joe came back.
G.I.
Uh,
Joe, real American
Hasbro
hero.
Hasbro was a little bit on the rocks, and they were trying to come up with ideas to compete with something called Star Wars, which dominated the action figure market and pretty much put Mego out of business, other than their business practices at the time. Um, so the GI Joe Real American Hero line debuted. Also, Cabbage Patch Kids debuted.
Oh,
Uh, I remember being in line with my dad to get one for my sister
oh my
back in
God.
the day. I was running
Wow.
into family members in this line. The glowworm showed up. I know that was a favorite of yours, David. Glowworm.
You know what's funny though about Cabbage Patch? My mother was trying to get one for my sister, and she got a hot tip on one. She had to meet this guy, and he had some in his trunk, and he was trying to sell them out of his trunk. These
That
Cabbage
sounds
Patch.
pretty shady. Like, did she
It was.
wake up with her organs gone?
They were fake. They were fake Cabbage Patch. That
That's
was
the
a whole
thing,
thing in
folks.
the
That was the
80s.
thing.
That was the thing. I was making a joke, but yeah.
Sorry. I had a Russian guy pull up at San Diego Comic Con and tell me to get in a van.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my buddy that I went with was trying to get us a cab, and I'm sitting there on the stoop, and I got like 85 pounds of toys because I missed the cutoff with FedEx to mail the stuff to the shop, and that was not fun. And there was these three girls that kind of came down waiting for a ride, and this van pulls up. It was like something out of The Shield, and this guy goes, "Get in van, get in." I'm like, I am not getting in that van because Tijuana is like right over there, and I would like to wake up with all my organs in my body tomorrow and not be like, in some bad way, like, damn it, I should have not got that exclusive. Now I don't have a kidney or something. Which if you're not careful, you'll pay for that stuff with a kidney. But
Oh,
so we also had the ill-fated Star Wars Micro Collection that came out, which I hate to say ill-fated because I had almost all of it and I loved it. It was little metal miniatures.
yeah.
The had play sets of the Death Star, Bespin. It was so funny. The other day on Free Comic Book Day, we have a bunch of those in our case, right? And somebody said, "Oh man, they got the Star Wars Micro Collection in the box," and they were like, "Oh, do they have Cloud City?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, they have Bespin." He goes, "Yeah, it's Cloud City." Like, no, man, they have Bespin. I'm like, it's the same thing, guys. Oh, okay. And I was just laughing. You got the freeze chamber. That's such a cool toy. Then we also had the Rubik's Cube. Now, the Rubik's Cube was invented in the late 70s, right? And it had been around for a while, but in 1982, it really took off. It kind of became a thing. I don't know why. It's just one of those things, kind of like this podcast. In, in probably 5 years, it'll be a thing. But you got to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, but the thing about the Rubik's Cube, it was an international sensation because people in Japan and people in Tokyo and people in China and stuff, they took it upon themselves to try to beat that. And there was time contests, how fast you could do that and stuff like that.
Oh, that was some serious stuff back in the day, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could, did you ever watch King of Kong?
Yeah.
Okay, so like when the Walter Day guy is like, I wanted to be some hot girl come up and say, I hear you broke the record in Centipede, like one that's never going to happen. So you guys out there, that's never going to happen. You're not going to have like Gina Carano come up to be like, I heard you beat the record on Centipede. What's up? That's not going to happen. Speaking of Gina, are you going to watch the fight tomorrow? between Gina
Yeah,
and Ronda Rousey.
yeah, that's interesting. I
It's
would
on
not want to.
Netflix.
Yeah, I would not want to be either of those women, and then I wouldn't want to be a Disney after that because they wouldn't be very attractive.
Well, I've already gotten into my support for Gina Carano. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When my wife said, "Who are you rooting for?" I was like, "Well, Gina's my girl," and I was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, um, "One, you got me, and two, uh, that's my girl I'm rooting for. In the fight. What are you talking about?" Um, Now, here's an interesting toy that came out that you could only get at Kmart, Christ Star. Now, the thing
Oh,
with Christ Star,
no, it's
so
Crystar. People always pronounce that wrong. It's
Christ Star, Chris
Crystar.
Star,
The
potato,
Crystal
whatever.
Warrior, Crystal Warrior, Crystar.
Chris Star, Christ Star, just depends on what side of the Mississippi you're on.
I
Well,
suppose.
for David's sake, Chris Star. Chris Star. Chris Star debuted in 1982 by Remco, and this was a weird thing. So normally the protocol had been, since Jim Shooter took over Marvel, toy companies would come to Marvel and say, "Hey, do a comic book of our toy." And ROM, which we talked about on your show,
Micronauts,
Micronauts, GI Joe, Transformers, I
Star
mean everything.
Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. So uh, most of the time, with the exception of like GI Joe and Transformers, both survived and were long going. ROM, the toy, bombed, but the comic book went on for like 8 years and was a very phenomenal book. It was kind of like a science fiction horror book, and it was really cool.
Yep.
Chris Star, if you will, was created by Marvel, and they tried to make it a toy, and it had like
Yes.
one year, and I think the book ran 8 to 12 issues.
15 issues.
Was it 15?
Yeah.
I know like Nightcrawler shows up in it from X-Men. He was
Yep.
showing up in everything. If you had a licensed property, if we licensed this podcast back in the 70s,
You put
Nightcrawler would
Nightcrawler.
be in it, which would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Because he was a teleporter, so he could really teleport pretty much anywhere, So he was an easy guest star to be in some
if I ever got to write the Avengers, I would put Nightcrawler on there just because.
Yeah.
Just because. So before we get into the movies in 1982, that's kind of a snapshot in time what was going on. There's hot summer days, great movies to see in the theater. TV was great, music was great, and a lot of the stuff that we would love for the remainder of the 80s kind of started in that year or came back in that year.
What we skipped over, what we skipped over? I think it was 1980 or 1981 for TV, which was an absolute fervor for television. This had never occurred in the world of television, but something happened in the summer of 1980. And then from 1982, there was a writer's strike. So it was delayed to like November of 1982. Who shot JR?
That's a whole podcast in and of itself. If you guys don't know, I am a huge Dallas fan. I love the Dallas Cowboys, hence my watch. And yes, it's a terminal illness. I've accepted that. And I'm also a huge fan of the Dallas TV show. And I always scare people when I tell them that J.R. Ewing, Captain Kirk, and Thomas Magnum from Magnum P.I. were my fictional heroes growing up. So they're like, we don't know where you're landing at, So I wanted to. I would like to use that in a job interview just to kind of mess with somebody. But no, that was a huge thing. And that would be a whole other show. I was going to invite you back one day to talk about Dallas because David's a fan of Dallas. Maybe I'll have a few other folks that are fans of Dallas to come on.
Yeah.
But it's just if I taught a class on how to write, I would show them episodes of Dallas because there's a lot of stuff they did great.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, there was no internet, there was no streaming, there wasn't even cable TV. Nope. And you had like 43 million people in America watching it, and then like 140 worldwide.
Yeah.
And Romania, the dictator of Romania, I can't think of his name, and it's not even worth mentioning his name because he's probably rotting in hell. But the dictator of Romania programmed Dallas on their state TV to show them the wrongs of capitalism and how America's so awful. And all it did was make the people of Romania want freedom even more. And because we want to have cars like the Ewings, we want to live like the Ewings. We want to be free. So when he was overthrown, when the country became a free country, one of the first things they did was reestablish Dallas on TV in Romania. So Larry Hagman would joke that J.R. Ewing single-handedly ended communism in that country, and that's so freaking funny. He was such an awesome dude. I was well. Anyway, we're getting off subject here.
Yeah, yeah.
That happened.
I
So
just thought we should mention it a little bit.
yeah, oh yeah, and I thought about that too. But we would have been here all night.
Yeah.
Last week we'd be here. We'd still be here. Like, I think I need to get up and go to work tomorrow, and I think multiple days have passed. So anyway, I want to give a shout out to Jeff Bonner, a friend of mine from my son's school. He's one of the coaches on my son's flag football team, or I'm sorry, two-hand touch football team. I'd be corrected by my son and probably hit if I didn't say that right. He asked me what my favorite movie of 1982 was, and he told me his was Rocky 3, and Rocky 3 is one of my all-time favorite movies. If I had to just pick one movie out of this great year, and there's so many great movies that I love, I'd have to say probably Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. I'm not a Trekkie per se. I'm a Star Trek fan, but I'm not a Trekkie. Like, I don't speak Klingon, and I probably know more about it than I need to. But that can be said about a lot of things. I can do that, but
you can't do it with my other one.
But that is a phenomenal movie, and Nicholas Meyer is a great director. We mentioned one of his movies previously, Time After Time. That's what got him the gig on this. So, a couple of notable things about 1982. Raul Julia, the late Raul Julia, who was in Street Fighter, Richard Pryor, Ahmad Asante, Chuck Norris, and Sly Stallone had a lot of movies come out. This was a banner year for them. Ahmad Asante, if I'm saying his name right, and Raul Julia really kind of got known in this year. Sly had stuff going on, which we'll touch on, and so did Chuck Norris. So it was kind of establishing their legacy, if you will. And then also comedy had a big part this year. Horror had a big part this year, and sci-fi obviously had a big part this year.
Fantasy comedy as well.
Yeah, fantasy. Oh yeah, definitely fantasy, which we'll get into that. Another one of my favorite movies, Conan the Barbarian, which I just was watching the other night, and my wife's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Leave." Like, don't. How do you not know what this is? I mean, hello. It's like if I was watching Dallas, and she didn't know what I was watching. But so yeah, this was a huge year for movies.
Nights.
Yeah, yeah. This was a huge year for me. It's like the scene in Conan where the Conan's got the sword and he's doing all that, and the master like turns around and kicks the guy. Of course, my wife would kick me and probably kick me through a wall. But so 1982 starts a lot of trends, continues a lot of trends, and it was just. And when I tell you guys this, it was an absolute phenomenal movie or year for movies and TV as well. But we're going to cover movies tonight. So I've got a list in my stack of stuff.
Daniel Toligani says, "Hi, Ghostbusters."
Hey, what's up, Ghostbuster Dan? Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed those boxes and the Ghostbuster trap that you got. Don't be. I just used a double negative. Don't be running around the city using that Ghostbuster trap. I don't want to bail you out of jail. That's one of my regulars. So the biggest movie of 1982. Which Steven Spielberg directed, which he had a couple of bangers out that year. It seemed like every year from 76 on up, he had some type of banger either the next year or the year after. So it was E.T. Yeah. E.T. was a huge phenomena that just took off, blew away everything. It was a very emotional movie. It was a very sweet movie. It was a movie about aliens. There was the concept was an alien named, well, we just call him E.T., was stranded, and a little boy named Elliot finds him. And it had a very young Drew Barrymore in it. And was there an older brother, older sister? I can't remember.
Older brother, I don't recall his name. But there's a lot of political connotations with E.T. There was also a big video game controversy with E.T.
Oh my gosh, yeah, with Atari.
That was the worst. Atari. It's got to be the worst game ever that Atari ever released. Was the E.T. extraterrestrial game? It was god awful.
Yeah, there's what they buried those things in a landfill or something, and people are excavating those, and yeah, it's so crazy. But that movie put Reese's Pieces on the map because
Yeah,
that was the candy of
yeah.
choice in that movie. I don't
It,
know if that was product placement or if that was just kind of an accident, right place, right time sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it
You know,
was. I think it was the right time. But there's also another controversial thing with that movie is because it was a children's movie and there was a lot of guns. There was a lot of rifles and guns and shooting of guns and stuff in the movie. For a children's film, a lot of the moms, a lot of the whatever you call those organizations, the right organizations, were
we
all
had Karens in the 1980s,
arms.
folks.
Yes, and yeah, a lot of them, a lot more in the 80s than there is now, probably. But they were all up in arms over that fact. And because of that, later on, when that eventually got released on DVD, they took out, CGI'd all the guns out. And you can see the guys with the fingers going like this, but there's no gun there. It looks stupid. So they
Yeah,
eventually
that was a Spielberg politically correct thing
yeah,
that
they
he
eventually
did.
added it back in when they did the Blu-ray and other versions later.
Yeah, that was a silly thing to do anyway. I mean, it is what it is. I love what Lego said when they got attacked for having weapons in their Lego. And they said, well, if it's dinosaurs, it's going to be dinosaur Lego. If it's knights, it's going to be swords and spears. If it's cowboys, it's going to be pistols. Or,
Yeah, yeah,
it's just part of it. It's better for kids to exercise their good and evil impulses out of toy play
exactly.
than
Yeah,
when they grow up and never did that and
yeah,
get
yeah.
picked on in high school or something.
That never
So
affected me, so I don't know why it affected anybody else. I was 8, I guess, in '82.
nobody even noticed. It was
Yeah,
just part of it.
yeah,
So 1982, E.T. is the biggest movie of the year. Number one movie in the box office. It was a cultural phenomenon. It was almost not quite Star Wars level, but it was close. But Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back definitely paved the way for this, and it almost felt like a sequel to Close Encounters in a way,
yeah.
because you
Sure,
had
yeah.
the ship at the end is kind of similar, and
It
you
was a
know,
cousin. It was like a cousin to that
yeah.
Close
And then
Encounters.
if you look closely, I think it's in episode one when Chancellor Valorum is voted out.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
episode
And
one
there's
was like an
yeah,
exciting episode of
and
C-SPAN.
ET
Um,
shows up back
there's
there.
ETs doing this and all that, so that was Lucas's nod to his friend Spielberg.
And
Um,
it establishes that Earth is in a galaxy far, far away.
potentially, potentially. So next up, I want to talk about, and we're not going to like single-handedly talk about all these movies because we'd be here for a year. Um, and I that would be pretty amazing. But so Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. That's my favorite Star Trek movie, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a movie about getting older and dealing with it, and also it's a great movie for like Admiral Kirk's character. He doesn't believe in a no-win situation, and just how smooth he is. It's got some really great shots. One of my favorite shots of all time is when they're in regular one and they're looking around for the crew, right? And this door opens up and you see Shatner's face and his collar has popped up, like just straight up pimp mode, man. And it just looks so freaking cool. So like anytime I have a collar like that, I always have it popped up and pretend I'm him
Uh,
walking through regular one.
it,
And
it,
some,
there's a lot of interesting things about Wrath of Khan. It establishes the two scenario for Star Trek. Every two films was a success on Star Trek going forward from that movie on because the first one wasn't that great of a success. The third one wasn't.
actually
Fifth one
one
wasn't.
grossed more than any of them.
One?
Yeah, one grossed more. Star Trek 2 did not gross as much,
Huh.
but it was super profitable because let me back up a little bit. So the story with Star Trek 2, Star Trek 1, actually they thought it was going to be a huge mess. And it's a kind of a controversial movie. People kind of crap on it. I like it. I don't I mean, you got to be right in the right mood to watch it. But Star Trek 2 really kind of to me starts the Star Trek movies. So Harv Bennett came in as the producer and he was a TV producer. And he said, for the budget of Star Trek 1, I could make 10 Star Trek movies. And so he was looking for a director, and he found Nicholas Meyer from Time After Time. And he really liked how he did what he did in that movie, which is a cool movie, and you should check it out. Guys and gals that are watching, check that out. Roddy McDowell and or not Roddy McDowell, Malcolm McDowell, and I think David Warner's in it, who's in Tron, which we'll mention later, and who's also in a couple Star Trek movies. But anyway, Harv Bennett gets Nicholas Meyer to direct it. So the first thing they did was give Starfleet this kind of Navy ship vibe, and they changed the uniforms. And I love those uniforms. You know, they got the little flap that hangs down, and you had the different insignias for your rank and stuff. And so they did that. And Leonard Nimoy at the time kind of wanted to get out of the movie. He'd done like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, In Search of. He was doing all this other stuff. He wanted to direct. He wanted to kind of get rid of this, leave Spock behind. He wrote a book and says, "I am not Spock." And then didn't he write another one that's called "I Am Spock"? I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah, it was in the 2000s. It was a sequel to that.
But he was afraid of getting typecast. So the idea was they were going to kill off Spock. So it leaked out. It kind of leaked that they were going to kill Spock. So in the very first part of the movie is a training sequence with a very young newbie called Kirstie Alley. She played a half Vulcan, half Romulan named Savick, and she was piloting the ship. And there's this thing called the Kobayashi Maru. And so the Kobayashi Maru was a no-win scenario, and it was to test your character as a captain or an officer and how you would handle this. So the thing is, you got to go over to where the Klingons are. There's a ship that's stranded. They're going to die. You got to rescue them. But the Klingons get mad, so it's a big test. The only person that ever passed that was Captain Kirk or Admiral Kirk, and it gets explained how he did it and all that. And it's really cool because he's eating an apple. He's like, "I don't like to lose," and it's just like he's just so freaking cool, man. William Shatner's awesome. 95 or however old he is, going into space and
Yeah.
making awesome TV commercials and all that. So anyway, Harv Bennett produces, Nicholas Meyer directs. It started a little bit of a rift between Gene Roddenberry and Nicholas Meyer. Gene Roddenberry wanted to do Star Trek 2, where they go back in time to prevent the Klingons from saving JFK. And it ended up Spock had to be the guy to kill JFK. And they were like, "Yeah, we're never going to do that. Ever." So, Gene, go over there and play with your disposable pajama clothes from the first movie and let us handle this. So it kind of started to make a rift with Gene Roddenberry and his creation, because he was kind of put on as like an executive producer and like a consultant that never got called, because that's what Star Trek 2, the movie, was going to be. The Klingons go back in time to save JFK because it was going to alter the future. And so Spock would be the one that had to kill him. And I'm like, no, that's awful. So they didn't go with that, obviously. They brought in Nicholas Meyer and Harv Bennett, watched every Star Trek episode there was. They had a couple ideas for what they were going to do. And then they watched the episode Space Seed with Ricardo Montalban as Khan. He was survived the eugenics war. He was this kind of genetically made man, kind of like Serpentor. And he had like 90 of his people were all genetically made, and they took over the Earth, and they eventually got booted and sent out into space. And they were on a ship called the Botany Bay. And in the original series, Kirk and them find him, kind of revives some of them, and Khan repays Kirk's hospitality by trying to take over his ship. They kind of fight, and then they kind of have a gentleman's agreement, and Kirk finds a planet where they can live and live out their days, and maybe make their own world and destiny. And there's one of the ladies on the ship stays with Khan because they had a little bit of a relationship. If you saw Ricardo Montalban back in the day, he was a very handsome Latin man with the slick back hair and a ponytail. David, you probably would have said, "I'm going with him." Hell, I might have too. I don't know. He was a good-looking guy and very charismatic.
He was like a car salesman. A very good talker. Knew how.
Oh man, in Fantasy Island, But anyway, so Wrath of Khan, they find this planet, Ceti Alpha 5, and it's destroyed. And Khan lost his woman. He has a son, or it's implied he has a son. He's the model-looking guy that's the only one that's allowed to question him. And they find out that Kirk's an admiral, and he thinks that Kirk put him here for a punishment, and he wants to kill Kirk. And so that's how the movie goes.
It was a whole mistake. They
Yeah,
sent them to the wrong planet. They were supposed to go to SETI Alpha 4, not SETI Alpha 5. One was all destroyed and it was inhospitable, and they had to make what they could of the planet and things like that. And so he held that against him. He thought he did that intentionally. And
well, it killed his
they were
wife.
stumbled
It killed his wife and all that. And it's a great movie. Like Kirk gets a pair of glasses for his birthday from Dr. McCoy, which is kind of a joke to number 4. Yeah, there's that scene. It's funny, like when the Enterprise gets attacked and Kirk has to put his glasses on, and he's like this, and Savick looks at him, he's like, damn. Because he's trying to impress her, and he's wearing these readers or whatever. Makes him feel old. So the whole point of the movie is not feeling your age, so to speak. And Kirk kind of does that. And it's a great movie. It's a great movie in general, not just a Star Trek or sci-fi movie or whatever. It's just a great movie.
The thing that bothered me about it was the creepy crawlies that they stuck into people's ears, and they like took over their minds. I had very sensitive ears because I was deaf as a child, so that entire thing made me very squeamish, and I didn't care for it.
I tried to obey. Terrell, kill Kirk. I tried to obey. He just ends up. I like when they shoot themselves and they're like vaporized. You can still hear them scream.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So enough for Wrath of Khan, because that'll be a whole podcast in and of itself. It's just a great movie, and it teaches you a lot of life lessons. So next up on our list, going to fantasy, we have Beastmaster with Mark Singer. Mark Singer, some of you may know him from the show V, the 2 miniseries, and then the show, the Beastmaster. And he actually had a stint on Dallas. Everything goes back to Dallas. Beastmaster was a cool movie. It was kind of ahead of its time.
It's bombed when it came out initially, but it was so successful in HBO and in Cinemax and all that stuff that it eventually got a TV series that was very successful in the period of fantasy and barbarians and all that.
Was that the 90s? Stuff.
Yeah, the late 90s, when Xena and Hercules and all that came out. It came back. It was very successful. But they did 4 films, Beastmaster films, I think?
Maybe. Didn't they remake it or try to remake it? I can't remember.
No, the original Singer was in all 4 of the original movies, but the TV show was a different actor. But he did guest star on the TV show as a different character.
That's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I love that Christopher Lambert is going to be in the new Highlander. I think that's so cool. That was another one. I think I saw a trailer for that. It's hard to tell what's a trailer and an AI trailer.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer for it. I thought they released something the other day.
No, not to my knowledge. No, that was AI, probably AI.
We'll begin.
But that was another one that bombed and got very big success on TV with the second.
Actually, I don't think Highlander bombed. I think it did well, because I was watching a retrospective where the guy that wrote the script was like a college grad, and that was like his the thing that got him an A in film class. And they bought the script for $10,000, and then he got a percentage of the budget. And they didn't think it was going to go anywhere because they wanted Sean Connery to play the Highlander, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to play the Highlander, but I'll play Ramirez." And Clancy Brown tells the story because he didn't get paid anything for the movie. They wanted Arnold to be the Kurgan. They brought in Christopher Lambert and then Sean Connery and then Clancy Brown. But that guy that wrote the script ended up getting several $1 million. I mean, imagine that you wrote a script and graduated college off of that. Somebody gives you $10,000 for it. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, here's your check for $2 million.
Well, I know it made its budget back, but it wasn't huge. So let's get back to 82. Let's get back to 82.
Yeah, and folks, you got to realize this is before VHS kind of became a big thing, because a lot of these movies became phenomenons after they released, like Beastmaster, because you could watch it on HBO. Then
Cinemax.
also Cinemax,
Showtime.
or you could rent it, and people would rent these things.
Yes, exactly.
There was a whole section of fantasy movies.
Yeah.
So next up is going to be Gandhi, Gandhi scored 8 Oscars that year.
Academy Award winner, right?
Hmm.
Ben Kingsley.
8 Oscars. Can you imagine that? That was a pretty big deal. I remember seeing the.
It's a very long movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I don't have a desire to see it.
Wow.
Um, huh?
Wow, I'm shocked.
I'm not a big fan of Gandhi. He was for the caste system, and I'm not for the caste system. But I'm not going to get in like Indian politics. But like I have some say in that. Johnny White guy over here. But so Gandhi, I remember when it came out. I mean, Ben Kingsley like became that character.
Yeah.
It's just a testament to how great of an actor he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, won 8 Academy Awards, which that's no small feat, man. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis does that stuff in his sleep, obviously,
Yeah.
but 8 Academy Awards. It's
A lot.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a good movie from a certain perspective. It's excellent. Yeah.
So next up, we have Jeff Bonner. If you're still watching, you haven't fallen asleep. It's a
He's
little
here.
joke between me and him.
Daniel Talagani is the only one here in the chat, and he's made a lot of comments about ET.
Let's hear him. This ought to be interesting.
All right, so he said, "Oh yes, the game was awful. Yes, agree. The change in the guns into walkie-talkies with all those little bit stupid that take your glass." I thought I'd be honest with you. I thought Goonies was a proper movie, and Johnny Five. I know they did He-Man movie back in the 80s. I don't think that did very well, and now the new one's coming out. And then he said, I agree, the best Star Trek movie of all time.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, GBD. So Jeff Bonner's favorite movie from '82, and one of my all-time favorite movies, Rocky 3. It's the third in the Rocky series.
Is this the one with Mr. T?
It introduced 2 big characters. Hulk Hogan. He got fired from the World Wrestling Federation, Worldwide Wrestling Federation, Vince McMahon Senior's company, for doing this movie. And I think Hulk probably did the right thing in doing this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then it introduced Mr. T. And Mr. T became a cultural phenomenon in the 1980s.
Oh, yeah.
Still love Mr. T. Love DC Cab. DC Cab. I wish I could find that on Blu-ray. I love that movie. Or
I
they
have
put
it
it on Tubi or something, because I would watch that nonstop. Because I did back in the day when it was on HBO and Showtime.
Dan, do you ever come down to Florida and move down here? I have the theater here, and I have billions of movies and TV shows, all the things that you would love to watch on a big screen theater experience. You can come and visit.
David, I feel like you're that Russian guy telling me to get in the van right now.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how I feel about that.
Come on down.
Come in the theater, Dan. Come in the theater. You know, you're like Robert De Niro on Goodfellas. Yeah, just go in there. It's right there. Go on in, Karen. Go on in. You know, I knew if I went to Florida with David, I wasn't coming back. Anyway,
exactly.
So Rocky 3 is a great movie. It's a story that all men kind of have to deal with.
Oh, wow.
It's
old.
Well, I'm probably getting a little too grandiose with that, but it's like when you finally achieve success, sometimes it's harder to succeed than it is to fail. And we've talked about this previously on Toy Talk and on your show. And so Rocky, he's at the top of the world. They got a freaking robot in the house. He's doing commercials. He's getting soft. He does not have the quote unquote Eye of the Tiger, which was one of the hit songs of that year by Foreigner. And he gets his ass kicked by this up and comer named Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T. And Clubber beats him, pushes Mickey, which causes a heart attack in Mickey, and Mickey passes away. You know, and there's great lines like, when I'm done with you, tell your woman to come here, show where the real man is. And of course, Rocky's getting mad. So Clubber's now the new champ. Rocky feels like everything's been a lie. He had achieved the success, and he still has his money and his success, but that this ego, his pride, his self-worth is now destroyed. So in comes Apollo Creed, and Apollo says, I'll train you. Now, Apollo was his rival in Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, played by the great late Carl Weathers. I love that man and love that actor. Such a great guy. I'll never forget when the LA riots happened in 92, when it was kind of the aftermath was over. Carl Weathers came from, I guess, Beverly Hills, or what's the other big spot over there?
Los
Uh,
Angeles?
no, like the suburb, like Beverly Hills, Bennington, or something like that. It's where
Uh,
OJ lived. Uh,
Pasadena?
no, but anyway, he came and he started cleaning up. And I'm like, "What are you doing? You had no part in this." He's like, "Hey, man, if we're gonna all get along and get together, we got to forgive and forget, and get to work and rebuild." And I was like, "Man, what a man! What a great man!"
Yeah.
So anyway, he trains Rocky, teaches him rhythm, teaches him not to be so stiff. There's a great scene where they're running on the beach. The training montages are great. And Rocky reinvigorates himself, wears Apollo's trunks as to honor Apollo, and goes in and beats Clubber Lang and retains and recaptures the world championship. And the cool thing was, all Apollo wanted in return was a rematch. And so, the very, very end of the movie, it's one of my favorite parts. Rocky and Apollo are in the training gym. They got their little punk panty shorts on and their, you know, wife beaters on. They're kind of shadow boxing in the ring. And he's like, "You want, you want to ring the bell?" And Apollo goes, "Ding, ding," and you just see them both throw punches, and
Yeah.
it ends. So you never know who wins until Creed, when Adrian or Adonis Creed tells Rocky, rumor was that they had a third fight. Who won that fight? How you know about this kid? And we never know who won that fight. But that was such a great movie about you achieve success and the struggle to maintain it and not to lose that hunger. And I mean, I've faced that before. Any person in business has faced that, and some have failed, like Sears and Kmart, Toys R Us, companies like that, Woolworths. They lose that hunger. They get too complacent. And it'll happen eventually with Walmart and Amazon as well. But anyway, that's a great movie. And then on to one of my other favorite movies of that year, going back to fantasy,
Wait a
Conan
minute,
the Barbarian.
you forgot
Oh,
to
sorry.
mention one thing with Rocky was Adrian! Adrian! Adrian!
Mickey's got me fighting bums. I'm not even that good. Come on, Stallion. And then it's got a great line.
Hey you, get out of here.
It's pretty good. There's a great line that I love. And it's just so, when I train or just even in work or anything you do in life, Rocky says, "I'll do it tomorrow." And Apollo's like, "There is no tomorrow, Rock. There's only today."
Yeah.
And it's such a great line because it resonates in life in general, not just training, not just business. Whether you're a priest, whether you're a father, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a police officer, whatever you are, that is such a great line.
Yeah.
And just that movie, the Rocky series, is just a series of life lessons.
Oh
So
yeah.
grateful for Stallone. I'm a
Yep.
huge Stallone fan, and he had a big year because, and I'll skip ahead. He had another big movie come out, which was his second great character, John Rambo. First Blood came out.
This one is tricky. Because I don't particularly care for this first one because I thought it was too realistic because of everything with the Vietnam War and a lot of these jarheads coming back and they're being treated really badly by the public, but they're these redneck guys that are what are they called? Something killers, baby killers, and all this
Oh,
stuff.
they caught him all types of things. It was
Okay,
awful.
it was
It was
really
a
bad.
very shameful. I mean, the Vietnam War. I don't fault our guys. They were sent over there to die. There's stories about Lyndon Johnson telling, "I want everybody that even failed the draft test."
Yeah,
He wanted. There was just all types of people coming over there just to be killed to keep that
yeah,
thing going on, and it's
exactly.
it's so shameful. But what was even more as shameful is how our guys were treated when they came
And
back.
this movie really resonated that tone. They got that tone of that the society, how they treated these guys, really very accurately, and it really makes me cringe when I watch this movie
I
because
love the movie. I
I
can
well,
watch it over and over, and
I
it's I think one of Stallone's best. And the book is very dark because in the book
yeah,
John Rambo kills himself, and in one of the cuts of the movie he does. You actually see a flashback. I think it's in the one where he's in Malaysia, or not Malaysia. Uh, oh gosh, like Cambodia, one of those places where he goes to rescue the missionaries, where he gets on the 50 cal and just goes to town. It's a great meme where like you see him coming up behind a guy on the 50 cal, and
Yeah.
it's always like Target employee, GI Joe collector, and they're coming up behind like with the knife. That meme makes me laugh every time.
It's
But
just
they added in the he has a nightmare and you see him kill Colonel Troutman and himself in the
but
nightmare. But
there's things in that movie that I really like. I like Troutman as an actor. Richard
oh
Crenna is one of my all-time
oh
favorite
he's
actors. I
badass.
like that macho dad type character, and he plays it to the hilt perfectly. But
God didn't make
I like
Rambo, I did.
I liked how Rambo deals with the situation, but it's what's his name,
Brian
Brian
Dennehy.
Dennehy's character that is so evil in this for no reason other than
You
the
know,
guy served his
it's a
country and
weird
he's passing through the town. That's it.
it's a weird thing because you kind of feel sympathetic towards him and his men because they're
I'm
just getting hunted by this creature of the night. Really,
Yeah, but
is
they treated him really bad for no reason. He was just walking by through the town to get to the next place.
I do kind of pop when that redneck it falls out of the helicopter because that guy was. Sorry if my son's watching. I get my hand slapped. That guy was an asshole.
Uh,
He's like, if you don't hold this helicopter still, I'm going to kill you myself. It's like, oh, you see the Rambo. Yeah, and he's like, I didn't kill you, man. Such a great movie, and it's just like his speech at the end where he's losing it. One of the guys that works for me does like a pretty good impersonation. He's like, "He didn't have no legs. He didn't have no legs. Where are my legs at?" Did we kind of crack up at that? But like, it's
uh,
so true, man, and it's just
personally,
it hurts
out
to
of the
hear.
Rambo series, I like 2 and 3 better, in my personal opinion. But a couple of people in the chat have stuff to say. Jen
Yeah, go for it, David.
XOG says, truer words have never been spoken. There is only today. And then Dear Lucy May says, Cambodia. And then Workroom 502 says, hey, folks.
Hey guys, thank you for participating in the chat. Yeah, it's First Blood is a phenomenal movie. I'm surprised there wasn't some type of Oscar nod for it. I mean, Gandhi was kind of eating up all the Oscars, I
I
guess.
think Brian
As a,
Dennehy did get an actor nomination for supporting actor or something, but he didn't win.
he was such a great actor,
He was,
and just the whole. And you're right. It really kind of encapsulated how our guys were treated
yeah.
coming back, and it makes you sad. Like when he talks about in the end of the movie when he's Colonel Troutman's trying to reason with him, to not kill Brian Dennehy's character and to like stop the fight, stop the war. And it's like, I drive $1 million tanks, yet I can't get a job. They call me baby killer and spit on me. And all I did was go over there and defend my country.
Yeah.
And there he says a great line. I think it's in number 2. He's like, I just want my country to love me as much as I love it. And it's like, damn, it's such a, and it's it's a lesson for our society.
It's poignant.
Like respect the troops, man, because whether you agree with the wars or not, and I'm not a proponent of war. I mean, like it should be a last resort, right?
Yeah.
But like when those guys go over there, they're getting killed or killing, so we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And they see stuff that we'll never ever want to see. Like my granddad's generation. Granddad fought in World War II. He was a badass, and he would never talk about it. You'd have to pry it out of him, and if you got it out of him, he'd tell you. Because I'd always be like, "What gun is this?" When I had my GI Joes with me at their house, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you attach it to the gun. It does this. This is a grenade." And like, Granddad, did you kill Nazis? He's like, yeah, killed quite a few of them.
One of the
But
interesting things about veterans is for the Central Florida Joe Show, which is my convention, my GI Joe theme convention in Central Florida, we gave out tickets to.
It's your successful Central Florida convention.
We tickets free of charge to veterans for the show, for their service through this organization that gives things to veterans and stuff.
My business partner would really love hearing that. That's awesome.
So if
It's
anybody in
very,
the
very
chat
cool.
is a veteran and they are interested in coming down to Florida or whatever, you would be welcome at the Central Florida Joe Show, free of charge for your service. It's the least that we could do for what you've done for us, for our
And thank
freedom.
you so much for your service. We would not be here
Yep.
living free, talking about stuff
Yep.
without you on the wall, so to speak.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Rambo is a great movie. So next up is going to be Conan the Barbarian,
Whew.
which was what launched Arnold into the stratosphere. I freaking love that movie. It still holds up after all these years.
It
It
does.
has James Earl Jones plays Thulsa Doom, and I dare say he's just as scary and as
Oh, yeah.
intimidating as Darth Vader.
But we have to go back and we've got to at least comment on the fact this was part of that whole fantasy overload from Star Wars that created this entire thing for the 80s and the late 70s. Without Star Wars, we wouldn't be getting Beastmaster, Conan, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we mentioned in the previous video, and which will come later in this video and farther through the 80s and continue on into the 90s.
Well, Conan had been around forever in
Yeah.
written form, and
Yep.
then Marvel Comics got the license for it. Roy Thomas
Yep.
wrote the bulk of it. The great John Buscema did the art. Barry Windsor Smith, a lot of great guys were on that book, and a toy property called He-Man became He-Man because of Conan.
Yeah.
Originally, it was going to be a Conan toy,
That's right.
hence the fantasy aspect.
Yep.
And Mattel was like, this might be a little too violent. You guys got like an orgy, a giant snake, killing people. It might be a little bit too much for us. And I did not know this, but the late Donald Gibb, who just passed away, he was Ray Jackson in Bloodsport and Ogre and Revenge of the Nerds. He was in Conan. I did not know that.
Yeah. He was a big actor. He did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm so sad he passed away. I thought he was a cool dude. I freaking love him in Bloodsport. Who doesn't love him as Ogre? And then he kind of becomes one of the nerds. But he was just rest in peace, my friend. You were a great guy, and we appreciate your body of work.
Yeah,
He was in U.S. Marshals too.
He's a very nice guy. I met him.
I popped because in U.S. Marshals they're watching WCW Nitro when they bust in that house to arrest him. And I was like, they're watching Nitro just like me. This is awesome. But which I'm also a big wrestling fan, if you don't know that.
Conan was an interesting film because I think this is the first big role for Arnold Schwarzenegger that catapulted him. His second big role comes out the same year, I believe, and both him and Schwarzenegger, him and Stallone were on a dual paths. They both had these two huge properties, and they were going forward in the 80s, trying to one up each other, and
there was the left and the right hand.
Yeah, they were big competitors. Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. Terminator's 84, but the Conan put him on the map because he did the pumping iron, which we talked about.
Yeah.
There's some things we can't say on this show that he says that are freaking hilarious. Hercules goes to New York. He was in a movie called Scavenger Hunt, which was like a CBS movie. But yeah, he's great in this movie. James Earl Jones is phenomenal. And like in the movie, when Thulsa Doom's people raid the village and kill all of Conan's people, Conan's mom's standing there with the sword, kind of protecting her son. And he takes off his helmet and is this big black guy with straight hair and big blue eyes. And he just looks so like a big puppy, like a sad puppy. And he's just staring at her, and like she puts the sword down. And then he just kind of does this, and like you see her, and he turns and her head falls off. He cut her head off. And at the very end of the movie, because like Thulsa Doom was kind of a sorcerer or whatnot in the lore of Conan. Actually, I think he fought Kroll or Cole.
Yep.
And then like later on, I guess Conan or whatever, because Cole is like Conan's ancestor 1,000 years back.
Yep.
So this is the part that I never really know what's happening in the movie. It's the very end. Thulsa Doom has this big like rally, and they're doing all this stuff. We're gonna make Samaria great again, whatever they're doing. And Conan just creeping up behind him, and he's like, "My child, you've come back to me." And he's like, I gave you purpose. and he's looking at him with those blue eyes, and Conan puts the sword down. And you see Conan kind of do this, and I'm like, is he casting a spell, or is just Conan listening to his sales pitch, and then Conan beheads him, and then holds his head up at the end? That is such a great movie. It still holds up. When he meets, I think the guy's name is Sumite. He's the guy that's chained up. I love this. I laugh every time. He's like, I have not eaten in 3 days. And Conan says, who says you will? It's just like, and then they become pals. He punches a camel, and then they kind of do they meet Valeria. And it's such a great movie. And there's a guy, I can't think of his name, but he's in several Schwarzenegger movies. He's in Stallone movies. He's in Kurt Russell movies. He's even in Van Damme movies. Uh, and I think he just recently passed away in the last few years. But he was a big dude, kind of a bodybuilder, friends with Arnold and friends with all those guys. And he's always like a bit player in all these movies. And then one of the guys from um, Spinal Tap is in it. He's the other big guy. I can't remember because his Tulsa Doom has these two big guys that are like his left and right hand to enact his will. But yeah, that's a great movie. It still holds up. It's on Tubi right now, so I recommend after you watch this award-winning podcast, go watch Conan the Barbarian.
They did a great animated series based on it that was fantastic.
What's going? I mean, we did Conan the Destroyer, which a lot of people think it's a lesser of a movie. I love screaming out "Boombada, Boombada." That's what I call my best friend now, Boombada. If I need his help, and the great Will Chamberlain, Arnold, Andre the Giant was in that.
I personally like the second one better than the first one because it introduced Red
Grace
Sonja.
And no, Red Sonja's not in it.
What's the Red Sonja one?
The Red Sonja movie. And
okay.
Arnold plays a character that's very similar to Conan.
Yeah.
But because of a rights issue, they couldn't claim Conan.
I gotcha. Well, that one I like a lot.
I think the kid from Sidekicks is in that with her. He's like Ernie Reyes Jr. or somebody's in that. But anyway, moving on. So in the Sword and Sorcery realm, we have Sorceress.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen that. I don't know if that's a family-friendly movie or not.
Sorceress?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's fine.
Yeah, it's in that Sword and Sorcery realm. Beastmaster, Conan.
What about Greystoke? What about Tarzan of Greystoke? Was that 80s?
That's later on. And then we have an Officer and a Gentleman, which is an absolute classic gem of a movie. Yeah. And I will admit that I tear up at the end when Richard Gere goes and gets his lady at the end of that movie. It gets to me. And they're playing that the soundtrack from it and all that. And he goes into the plant she works out, picks her up, carries her out. That's a phenomenal movie. Louis Gossett Jr., I think, won like a Best Supporting Actor for that movie, playing the drill sergeant.
It's just not my thing.
Huh?
It's not my thing.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry Richard Gere didn't walk in there and pick you up and walk away. But it's a great movie. Then we have Megaforce, which felt like it was a let's Eagle Force G.I. Joe and vehicles.
Exactly.
That was supposed to be a big thing. It bombed horribly. I remember my dad took me to see it. I thought it was cool.
It's a cult classic today.
Oh, yeah, big time.
They did a lot of toys of it. They did a whole line of toy action figures and cars and Hot Wheels and Matchbox. All that stuff.
You better check your facts on that one. I don't think that's the case.
What? The toy line?
Yeah, there was no. I don't remember a toy line for that ever.
Yeah, there was a toy line for Megaforce. A whole bunch of cars. They were like miniature cars from Matchbox and Hot Wheels and stuff, and vehicles. Oh, yeah, they had a whole toy line.
I'll have to take a look at that. Next up is Clint Eastwood's Firefox, where he steals a Blackbird, the X-Men's Blackbird or the Cobra Night Raven. That's all I remember. Then here comes a classic with the great Kurt Russell, The Thing.
Yeah.
Which is technically a sequel,
a
remake of The Thing from Another World, which is another favorite movie of mine.
Yeah.
Which is a black and white horror movie.
Yeah.
But this is like one of Kurt Russell's Escape from New York. Well, Kurt Russell was a big star. He was a Disney kid.
Yeah.
Thank God he survived that process.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the people that, have to deal with some trauma. We won't go into that. But Kurt Russell was a pretty solid. He's a great human being, phenomenal actor. One of my favorite actors of all time. And he was in The Thing, and it was a David Keith is in that. There's a whole litany of people in that movie. It's a phenomenal movie,
Yeah.
and it's a John Carpenter movie. The
Yeah.
great John Carpenter from Kentucky.
Special effects was so like beyond anything you've ever seen before.
Yes, yes. So next up we have Roy Schreider in Still of the Night. Have you ever seen that?
I have. It's another one of those movies that wasn't really my thing. My thing was more fantasy. Remember, you got to think I was 8 years old. I wasn't watching these like drama, romance.
Oh my
type
God! Come
films.
on, David. You should have been watching Dynasty, Dallas,
I
and
watched
The
them later.
Godfather.
I watched all this stuff later when I got more mature, and I realized, oh, okay, there was some other stuff that came out during that wasn't fantasy, it wasn't barbarians, it wasn't space battles, it wasn't action-oriented martial arts type stuff and
Or
cartoons.
military fantasy like G.I. Joe.
Yeah, there was
So
other
then
stuff.
we have Burden of Dreams. Have you ever seen that?
I think I have. It's another one of those movies that kind of like passed me by a little bit.
So then we're also going to have Things Are Tough All Around, which I've never seen that. We already did First Blood. Then we have two fan favorites here: Dark Crystal.
Ah,
Jim Henson's Dark Crystal.
That's more my
which is a
speed.
pretty cool movie. I remember seeing that in the theater.
Yeah.
And then we have another one that I know we're going to probably talk about is Tron.
Okay, first let's go back to Jim Henson. Now this is the first time he went out on his own and he created his own film from scratch. I know he did the Muppet movies, but that was all characters that already existed, and they already established that with the Muppet Show and Sesame Street and things like that. But Dark Crystal, it took him years. Him and Frank Oz made that film, and the special effects and the puppet tearing and the stop motion was beyond anything that had ever been seen. They took the Clash of the Titans and they stepped it up about 10 notches from Clash of the Titans to Dark Crystal.
I agree with that. That was Dark Crystal. I remember seeing that in the theater. I liked it. It's kind of a slow burn. You kind of have to sit through it. I got a funny story I'll tell you one day about Dark Crystal with one of my customers.
Tron is a whole nother ballgame. Tron at the time, like we said in the last episode, Disney was trying to break that mold of these comedy, family-oriented, like Herbie Goes to Wherever, or the robot steals the tennis shoes, or whatever type movies that they were doing for decades, and they broke out and did the Black Hole a couple years earlier, and then Tron was their next big thing because computers were big, starting to really ramp up all the technology and computers and special effects, and it was the most difficult movie at that point in time. All the costumes, they had to go in and color all those bright lines around everything, all the gridding, the computer gridding with the motorcycles, and that it took them like years to do all that work.
I'll tell you a really funny, kind of the funny memory of that movie, and it's a more recent memory. When I first bought the store, the Zone would watch G4 TV all the time.
Wow.
And so I kept up that tradition because I watched it at home. And I would just remember like Fridays and Saturdays, it would be like Tron would be on G4 TV nonstop, and then King of Kong. And then like Olivia Mum would come on and you'd forget what you were doing and, had to start over. Yeah, Tron was a fun movie.
So
Jeff Bridges.
We have Jeff Bridges as the main antagonist, Brian
David
Flynn.
Warner.
We have David Warner as the main bad guy, the program, the whatever program, and then we have Bruce Boxleitner, and then we have
the girl that's in it. She was in Falcon Crest. She was Lance's lady on Falcon Crest.
Yeah,
and she was also Lacey Underall in Caddyshack.
And then there was a guy that was the main guy that created the program, and I cannot remember his name.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, an older guy.
And then Peter Jurassic was in it, and then from Babylon 5 and a whole bunch of other stuff, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And the guy that played Ram, that's another thing. They had some funny names in this. Ram.
There's all computer oriented.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I watch that movie at least once a year, every year of my life. It did not do well. The only reason why it didn't do well is because it was crammed between movies like Conan and
E.T.
E.T. and First Blood and all these movies that came out in the summer. And it only had like a 2-week window to try and get people into the theater to see it. And it was a mediocre success, but it didn't create this huge thing. It's been a cult favorite for many decades after the fact. And I've met the entire cast.
They did do toys. They did do toys.
Yeah,
A
toys.
limited amount of toys.
Yeah,
It was
many
supposed to
times.
be Disney's attempt at Star Wars,
Yes,
like Black
exactly.
Hole was.
Yep.
And it was a cool movie. It was it's one of my favorites in the 80s. It's not my all-time favorite, but I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have good memories of a kid going to see it. And yeah, everything you said is accurate. It didn't do well, but it has a cult following. Then you had Tron Legacy come out in 2010, which really was a sharp movie, great soundtrack. But Tron is one of those, if you've not seen it, I recommend you see it and just have the patience and appreciate what it was in that time frame.
Yes.
Because back then, that was like,
First,
holy smokes. Did you see? And
Burger,
they had a video game that you could go play at the arcade.
Yeah, now
For
there
those
was a
that don't
game that
know,
was very successful. Very successful.
Arcades were places. Oh, I feel crazy saying this.
Yeah.
Like
Arcades, yeah, it was
Indiana
like,
Jones explaining the Egyptians.
exactly.
Arcades were places you could go to play video games with other people.
Yeah.
And you'd use quarters.
Listberger was the director, and he was he had a nervous breakdown on that movie because it was so difficult to get all those special effects before the launch date of that film. And they didn't even give it an Academy Award because there was no Academy Awards for special effects during 1982, which is an awful situation.
Considering you had Star Wars, two Star Treks,
Black Hole,
two Star Treks,
The Thing, all that
so
stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna go through some of these pretty fast so we can kind of stay on our time frame here.
Sure.
So we have Monsters and Mazes starring a guy named Tom Hanks. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. We have Sword and the Sorcerer.
Love that.
We have Death Trap with Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve.
That was a good movie.
Which, I love that movie, but it freaked me out because they kissed each other, and I was like, huh? Then we have Porky's, which still to this day I think some type of cartoon.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad say I can't see it.
Another great movie.
Now we have two Chuck Norris movies. We have Silent Rage, which is almost like Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers, which if you've not seen that, I highly recommend it. Has a great score, has a great Ron Silver in it. And Chuck is fighting this unstoppable guy. It's kind of like Michael Myers. It's a very great movie. Forced Vengeance, another Chuck Norris movie. I just spoke about this the other day. I was talking to a guy at church. We were talking about people we've talked out of suicide before. I've done that before. Talked people out of suicide, that is. And unfortunately, he knew somebody that, had killed himself during the war, and Vietnam War, that is. And I said, if things ever got so bad, I'd just be like Chuck Norris in Forced Vengeance. I would go to Hong Kong, be a security guard at a casino, and have 2 girlfriends on a boat. And that's actually still not a kind of a bad idea. We'll see how this podcast goes. We might, Dan was going to join us this week, but they don't have internet on his boat.
Do you remember the Lone Ranger? The Lone Ranger movie came out that year.
80 or 81.
All right, okay. Because I love that Lone Ranger movie. I think it's fantastic.
And then we have Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big deal because they were tapping into 3D.
That was another one of those 3 movies that I think is better than 1 and 2. I get a lot of flack for that. But for some reason, I like Friday the 13th 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Jaws 3, and I get a lot of flack. I don't know why.
David, I hate to do this. I need to run to the restroom real quick. So I'm going to let you tell everybody the joke I'll be right back.
What joke?
I don't know. Make one up. I'll be right back.
No, so there's a lot of good movies that came out in 82. It's considered one of the greatest film years in history of film making. So many big filmmakers came out of 1982, and a lot of big actors. got their launch in 1982. But the summer of 1982, it was so difficult to see every movie. Every weekend you were going after school, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you were seeing a lot of movies. My twin brother and I, we would go to see a lot of movies together. We would do a team up. And one of the movies we got to go see was the Roger Moore 007 movie that is very interesting to G.I. Joe, and I'll get to it in a moment, was Octopussy with Roger Moore. And it is a fantastic movie, has to do with a circus. And there's these guys that are in it that are these acrobats that are part of the circus, and they throw knives and stuff like that. And I had asked Larry Hama, I said, Larry, did you guys use those acrobats from Octopussy as the Crimson Twins or pull some elements from that? And he winked at me. He said, maybe. So whenever Larry does that, you know that he did it. And I love that movie for that, for the two twin acrobats that are in that movie. And Roger Moore has to dress up in like a bear costume, a clown costume or whatever. And there's a whole train sequence, and there's so much good stuff. I said it before, almost all of Roger Moore's movies are phenomenal movies. I just wish somebody else was 007 in the movies. And I believe Octopussy came out in 82, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to ask Dan when he gets back.
That was 1983.
Oh, 83. Sorry then. I jumped the gun on Octopussy.
I have a friend, one of Wyatt's friends at school, his dad. We have this joke because I told him about the Sir Roger Moore joke that I pulled, that he's my biological father. Which I'll do a whole podcast on that joke one day. And I said, so you could tell people in this school that you were the Indian guy that was in that movie in Octopussy, and you worked with my dad. So
Yeah.
anyway, so next up, we've got some great comedy movies, some really big comedy movies. Thank you, David. Sorry, guys, I had to step out for a second. We have Richard Pryor and The Toy, which I saw that as a kid.
Toy.
I saw that as a kid, and I'm not really sure if that was appropriate or not.
That was my life. I wish I was the toy. Well, I have to be careful how I said this. I wish Richard Pryor would have adopted me.
Richard Pryor was a phenomenal comedian. I loved him. He was so funny.
Who was it? Fred Flintstone's voice was the main guy in that. Who was it? Not Daphne Coleman.
No, it was what's his name that was in Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, but he played the voice of Fred Flintstone early on in the Fred Flintstone cartoon. In the Honeymooners, he was in the Honeymooners. Who is it?
Jackie Gleason.
Yes, Gleason.
Jackie Gleason. Yeah, he's great in that.
He was great.
Then we have the first movie for Eddie Murphy, 48 Hours.
Oh, 48 Hours.
Huge movie. Co-starring Nick Nolte. Now, we're going to talk about this for a minute. So I actually have a cassette tape. Again, folks, that's that little thing you can use a pencil or a pen to wind up if you need to. And you pop it into a thing, hit play.
Be kind and rewind.
Yes. So it's a stand-up. It's before Delirious. It's just titled Eddie Murphy. It's one of the funniest ones. It's before Delirious and before Raw. And he's talking about, I'm going to be in a movie with Nick Nolte. And 1982, we got a big year. I'm going to be in a movie with Nick Nolte called 48 Hours. And he's going to go see it in a white theater because brothers be talking to the screen and stuff. And it's a funny bit he does. But he's in 48 Hours, and it's Reggie Hammond is Eddie Murphy. He's a criminal. He's part of a heist crew. And the other guy, and he got kind of set up and went to jail for him. And so a guy named Gans, and then Billy from Predator's in it. And they're doing some bad stuff. And one of Nick Nolte's police officer friends gets killed. A little bit trivia, if you've seen Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, it's Mike from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's the cop that gets killed in it. And so Nick Nolte wants to get revenge, so he gets Reggie Hammond out of prison for 48 hours to track down Gaines and his crew. And it's one of the funniest movies. It's just a great movie all the way around. Highly recommend it. And they did a sequel, another 48 Hours. I don't think it did as well. I still thought it was funny, but a little sentimental story. My dad and I went to go see that. I took my dad to see it because I was big man because I was working a job at the country club as a golf caddy, and I was making some money, like 260 tax free. Well, I won't say what year because I don't want to date myself, but when you're in high school and you're making $260 tax free, that's a lot of comic books, it's a lot of hip hop CDs, and there's a lot of going to the movies
Yeah.
or eventually taking your girlfriend out to eat.
Yeah.
So I took my dad to see another 48 hours, and we had a great time seeing that.
Was
Hopefully,
that
he remembers that.
was for 48 hours? Was that before Beverly Hills Cop?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And a funny story about Beverly Hills Cop. So Beverly Hills, so Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, Paramount wanted Eddie Murphy to be the scientist,
Yeah, yeah.
who ended up being a woman, and with the whales and all that, that her and Kirk kind of had like a little thing. And Eddie was dead set on playing an alien. He was a big Star Trek fan, and he wanted to be an alien. And he said, "No, you're going to be a human scientist. You deal with like marine biology because it's part of the movie because there's tubes coming." And the MacGuffin device in that movie is really silly, but it's the funniest movie ever. And then like it's so cool to watch now because in 2026 they have to go to 1980. Well, not in 2026, but in the movie they go back to 1986, and like that was 40 years ago. I hate to say, ooh, and I'm out of bourbon too. I need a drink after saying that, but like you're going back in time with them. But anyway, Eddie Murphy was supposed to be in that, and then Sylvester Stallone was going to be in a movie called Beverly Hills Cop, and so Stallone passed on Beverly Hills Cop so that he could go do Rambo 2, and Eddie didn't do Star Trek 4, so he did Beverly Hills Cop. Pretty crazy how and then of course Eddie was supposed to be Winston Zedmore in Ghostbusters, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about in 1984. But he was supposed to be Winston Zedmore because you had like all Saturday Night Live guys in that.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out. Just a little bit of trivia there.
Mm.
So moving on from that, Trail of the Pink Panther, kind of a pseudo comedy. Then we have another Steven Spielberg movie, Poltergeist.
Oh
Which
boy.
I will admit I have never seen that movie all the way
Creepy.
through.
When you're
That
a
movie-
child and you see that little girl, the way she acts, you're like,
They're
holy
here.
cow. And the
If
stuff coming through the TV and everything.
Oh, no
That's
thanks.
like the crap
Anytime.
out of me. You know how many? It took me years to rewatch that. Probably 20 years to rewatch it because that scared the crap out of me.
Two movies I've never seen, except like little bits and pieces, is The Exorcist, which I will not see that for
It's
any.
not that bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to see it. And then Poltergeist. That just when that little girl's looking at the fuzz on the TV, they're here.
Woo.
Like anytime people would have to turning the channels back in the day, because folks, we used to have to get up and turn channels.
Yeah.
They go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
adjust your antennas.
Yes, and that stuff I would keep it polite. I almost pulled Eddie Murphy. That blank used to freak me the blank out. But
it was a scary movie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But that was a scary movie.
McCraney, I think Gerald McCraney was in that, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're thinking of Major Dad. The guy from Coach was in it.
Yeah, Coach.
What's his name? He was in it.
I thought his name was. Oh, you're right. Gerald McCraney was Major Dad. You're right.
Yeah, that was Major Dad and Simon and Simon.
I can't think of his name, but he plays the dad in the Incredibles, whatever the voice actor is for the dad in the Incredibles.
So then we next up on our list we have Cat People, which that used to freak me the hell out too.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up. Let's back up a smidge to Poltergeist. There was two actors that had tragic lives from Poltergeist. The little girl, she ended up having a brain tumor as a couple years later, and she was in the hospital for a while, and she ended up dying. And then the old lady that was the weird, creepy old lady in that, she also was very ill and had some medical problems, and I think she died in the 90s. So both of them had very tragic lives.
Not as bad as the Twilight movie or Twilight Zone movie where somebody got decapitated by a helicopter.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Which I don't think we covered that, but we don't need to.
Yeah.
Well, now that David's brought the podcast down, folks.
Well, you gotta talk about all the behind the scenes stuff a little bit. Go ahead.
So next up is Cat People, a very freaky movie with David Bowie, the great David Bowie. That used to kind of freak me out. I think it had nudity in it. So as a kid, I'm kind of like, and then it just got weird.
Nowadays, I'd watch it, but back then, I didn't care.
Same here. And then a guy named Harrison Ford had a lot of work going on.
Oh my
So
God.
he was in American Graffiti. He
Yeah.
was in Star Wars. Took a little break there. I was like in Guns of Navarone. He was in Empire Strikes Back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then we had Blade Runner in 1982.
Cisco Beast says nerds. Go ahead.
Love you, Cisco. Tell your son to quit stealing stuff in my store. His son right now said, I don't steal. I don't steal. I'm missing so much stuff after your son came in the other day with you. Just teasing, Bane. We love you. We're teasing you because we like you. So Blade Runner, Ridley Scott, didn't do well, but
No.
is a cult hit,
Yeah.
cult classic,
Another cult
great score, great
Yeah.
cinematography. I can't think of the guy's name that did the designs. It's all right on the Sid Mead. Sid Mead.
H.R. Geiger?
No. Sid Mead.
Oh, Sid
did
Mead,
the,
yeah.
did the designs. Great design work, futuristic world. The great Rutger Hauer's in it.
Yeah.
It's just a classic
Who's
movie.
the main actress in there? She's a huge actress in the 80s.
I can't think of her name.
I can't think of her name either.
Yeah, whoever. She's hot. But anyway.
I can Google it. I don't have my phone. Oh, yes, I do. Let me Google it.
You're not like me doing this ghetto style on a telephone.
No.
Or, sorry, a cell phone.
No,
smartphone.
It is what it is, Let's see. Blade Runner. That's the good thing about technology.
Who was the co-star in that? It was one Sean
Rutger
Young.
Hauer.
No, Rutger Hauer is the villain. But who was the girl? I can't remember the girl's name.
I'm trying to get it. Hold on. Give me a minute.
You go to cast, David. Go to cast.
I'm gonna.
I hope I went to the restroom, David, and get my podcast canceled.
No, Sean Young.
Yeah, the great Sean Young, who
co-star. Daryl Hannah
was nuts. Who went nuts in on David Letterman, I think it was, saying she was going to be Catwoman.
There was a lot of people. So you had Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, Daryl Hannah, Edward James Olmos, Breon James, Joanne Cassidy, William Sanderson, Joe Turkel, Morgan Paul, M. Emmett Walsh, and John Edward Allen.
Yeah, it's a pretty stacked movie.
Yeah.
It's a cult classic. Recommended to folks. It's a kind of a sci-fi noir movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great film. But the sequel's probably better.
So
which is very rare. Which is very rare.
Kind of keeping it going here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Creep Show, which I've never seen that.
Hey, isn't that your life story? Oh, sorry, never mind.
Wow, that's another podcast, man. Wow.
I'm just having fun with you. Go ahead.
Well, next up is David's favorite movie, Tootsie.
Yay!
Dustin Hoffman pretends to be a woman.
That was another Academy Award-winning movie. Major, I think that he got nominated. I don't think he won because I think Ben Kingsley won, but he was nominated for that.
That was a big deal. I remember that being a big deal. I remember seeing the trailers.
Yeah,
I was a kid. Movie. I was like looking at it, scratching my head, like, she's pretending to be a woman so you get a job or something. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Then we have a Robin Williams movie, a great Robin Williams called World According to Garp.
It was a weird movie. I didn't really get it, but I know it's considered a big movie for his career, Robin Williams. But I didn't really get it.
I can't remember. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through.
Oh yeah.
Then we have one that's a kind of a favorite of mine, Victor Victoria. Have you ever seen that?
Oh God, I love that movie. It's got all my favorite actors in it.
James
Garner,
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews. It's got the guy from The Last Starfighter.
Yes.
I can never think of his name.
Whatever his name is.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever his name is, he's in it.
I'll have to Google him now. Victor Victoria.
So Victor Victoria is the story of this woman, Julie Andrews, who's trying to get a gig singing in French nightclubs, and they won't let women sing. So she pretends to be a man named Victor and sings and gets in.
Robert Preston, the Music Man.
Great actor. Super great actor.
One of my three favorite roles of his was that one, Last Starfighter, and The Music Man. I love him.
Yes. Yeah, great actor. So James Garner's an American gangster. And it kind of deals with like gender identity and all that. Before that was like a thing.
Yeah.
And James Gardner falls in love with Julie Andrews, but doesn't
It's a,
realize she's Victor. And
yeah,
then finally he's like, I don't give a damn if you're Victor or Victoria. I'm in love with you.
it's
It's a
a
cool
farce.
movie.
It's
It's
a
a very,
farce, but it's a fun movie. It's a really
yeah,
fun
it's a
movie.
great movie. It's a fun movie. It's a funny
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It's not offensive. It's not woke. It's just a
No, it
fun
isn't.
movie.
Yeah, it's a
And his
farce.
tough bodyguard, who
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
was the dad, he was the dad in Webster, I think, was
Yes.
this big tough bodyguard. He ends up being gay
He's a
and
football
ends up
player, right?
going with Robert Preston's character. It's just a fun movie.
Yeah, it was a very
Uh,
good character story. Yep.
then we have a movie called Night Shift with Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton, and
Yeah.
this is kind of what got Michael Keaton on the map.
I like that
Before
movie. I think it's a funny movie.
It's a funny movie. They work at a morgue.
Yep.
All types of craziness happens.
Yep.
Chris Michael Keaton would go on to do Gung Ho, Mr.
Yep.
Mom, and something called Batman.
Yep.
Then we have Year of Living Dangerously with Mel Gibson, which I believe was a gangster movie, and this was kind of like right after like Mad Max and Road Warrior in Mutiny on the Bounty, and then this is kind of this, and then we're gonna get Tequila Sunrise, another Mad Max, and then we're gonna get another Mel Gibson movies. Um, then we have Arthur with Al Pacino, which I've never seen that. I probably should, being a
I
Pacino
have.
fan.
It's a pretty good movie. It's one of his weaker movies, but it's still a good movie because it is Al Pacino.
Then we have a classic, Annie.
Oh, Annie, God. There's gonna be a tomorrow. La, da, 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 da. Yeah, that's terrible. I know. But I love that movie. It's another one of those comic strips that was done as a film, like Popeye in 1980. That was the next one in the line there to do, and it was fantastic. I love the incredible cast. Carol Burnett.
Wasn't Yul Brynner in that? Didn't he play the
No. It was.
Daddy
now I need to
Warbucks?
let me Google it. But it has one of the best incredible casts you ever see. That's why I said I
I
wish.
feel like we need to do like a commercial for Google because it's like the third or fourth time.
Well,
When you have trouble finding something about a movie or a fact, or you
Yeah.
just need to know something, search Google.
yeah.
Just type it in and hit search. Um,
No, where's the original Annie? No, I want the original Annie. Oh shoot.
Shirley Temple was in the original.
Yeah. Uh,
So this surprised me that this came out in 82 because I thought for sure this was like 86, 87, 88.
all right. So here we go. Here's the cast. We have Eileen Quinn, who is Annie. We have Carol Burnett. We have Albert Finney, who is Daddy Warbucks.
That's right.
Tim Curry, Bernadette Peters, Ann Ranking, Tony Ann Gisandi, Jeffrey Holder, Lara Burke, Edward Herman, Robin Ignicio, a lot of children actresses and actors in this.
All right. Well,
But the
we
one
know
guy that I
Andy's
liked was
David's favorite
Punjab.
movie.
The guy
So
that
David,
played what?
So David, the next. Well, I'm going to speed up a little bit here.
What about Punjab?
Huh?
Punjab.
Punjab.
He did the 7-Up commercials in the 80s. Very fresh and refreshing and sparkly and refreshing. Punjab. Blah, blah, blah. You remember those commercials? 7-Up commercials?
No, I think you're just living in a different reality.
No, he was a big, tall guy. In Annie, he was Punjab. But in the 7-Up commercials, he was like sparkling and refreshing with his accent. He was such a cool actor.
Was he a black bald guy?
Yes. And he was in the
that was the
helicopter.
villain in Live and Let Die.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, they had the top hat. It was.
Yeah.
They thought he killed him. He was on the front of the train at the end of the movie.
I love him. He was such a
Oh, he was badass.
Yeah.
So this surprised me that it came out in 82. Secret of Nim.
Oh, yeah. Secret of
I
Nim.
thought that was like
great.
87, 88, 89 era.
That's another cult classic animated feature film that's had like 10 sequels. I bet you didn't know that.
Well, speaking of that, then we have The Last Unicorn.
Oh, another classic, but that's the Japanese version, anime, one of the very first feature films in anime in America.
Then we have a movie called Tex, which I don't know anything about, but it just it's kind of cool. Now here's one that I have a special place in my heart because I remember seeing this. Savannah Smiles. You remember that movie?
I've heard of it. I don't recall it.
Don Knotts and Tim Conway ended up accidentally kidnapping the governor of Georgia's daughter because she's upset with her dad because he's too busy to be a dad. and she kind of runs away with him, and so they end up being the kidnappers. It's a very sweet, emotional movie. Great movie for those two guys. They were in so many great movies together. I love that movie. And then on a darker note is Charles Bronson in Death Wish 2.
Oh boy.
Then John Travolta continues his rise to stardom in Grease 2.
Grease 2, that was a great version of that because it introduced a couple of new actors in there that went on to do a lot of soap roles and stuff like that. So that was a really good movie.
Then here's a movie that kind of confused me in Dr. Venture, if you've ever watched Venture Brothers. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
My
Burt
favorite
Reynolds
movie.
and Dolly Parton.
Oh my God.
I was kind of confused about that one.
I love
You'll have
it.
to smarten me up on that later. So then we have Starstruck. That came out. Now
that was with Annie Hall herself. Why can't I remember her name? Big musician, Annie Hall. What the hell is her name?
Chat, help us out here.
Yeah.
So now next up, this was 4 re-releases from Disney that came out this year. Animated Peter Pan, Robin Hood, Bambi, and Fantasia. All were re-released in 1982 and did quite well. So not only did Disney have those cartoon movies coming out, they had Tron. So they were kind of hitting on all cylinders. Now we have Trail of the Pink Panther, which I think we already covered. We have Shadow Riders, which was the cowboy movie. We have The Border with Jack Nicholson, which I swear I thought this movie came out later, closer to now than back then, but it came out in 82. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Then we have Hanky Panky. Did you ever see that one?
Yes, I have.
I remember it, but I never saw it.
Right. So here you go. Here's the cast of Starstruck. Joe Kennedy as Jackie, Ross O'Donovan as Angus, Margot Lee as Pearl, Max Cullen as Reg, Pat Everson as Nana, John O'May as Terry. So that's not who I thought it was. I thought that was what's her face from Annie Hall, but she was not in it. So there you go.
Then we have a movie, My Favorite Year. Then we have One from the Heart, which starred Raul Julia. Which Raul Julia is in a couple of movies this year.
Yeah.
And the reason he's relevant is because we have a Street Fighter movie coming out this year in 2026. And Raul Julia was in the movie in 1994. That was his last role, and he gave it his all. Then we have Canary Row.
That was a good movie.
Love and Money.
When was the second Indiana Jones movie?
That was 84.
Oh, all right.
Because you had Harrison Ford had 77, probably something in 78 and 79. Had Raiders or Empire, Raiders, Blade Runner, like Witness, Indiana Jones.
Witness was like 88.
No, Witness is Witness is earlier. You're thinking of regarding Henry's like 88. So then we have Christopher Reeve. It's the second movie with Christopher Reeve that we talked about called Monsignor, where she's a Monsignor in a Catholic church. Then we have Missing, which I've never seen that, and I don't know if I want to. Quest for Fire, which I remember seeing the trailers for that.
Another fantasy movie.
Caveman people kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. Then we have a movie called Making Love.
Oh.
Yeah. Might need to go back and watch that one. Then we have a movie called Barbosa with Willie Nelson.
That was a good movie.
I've never seen that, but after researching it, I want to see it. Now we have a classic. We have a classic comic book movie, Swamp Thing.
Oh yeah, but it bombed. But it's another one of those Beastmaster type things. It went on to have a sequel because of the HBO and Cinemax and all that. So they did a sequel. It made its money, right? But then it went into a TV series on USA, and it went for like 3 very long seasons. They were like 30 episode seasons, very long. Dick
Of course,
Durock was
the great
Swamp
comic
Thing.
book writer Alan Moore made that
Alan
series very
Moore. Yeah,
popular.
he was doing the comic, so it made the movies popular on HBO after the fact.
Of course, Adrienne Barbeau in a nightgown in the
Yep,
swamp didn't
Adrienne
hurt either.
Barbeau. Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of making love, anyway,
I met her. She's quite an interesting person.
did you see her on Sons of Anarchy?
No, I've seen her in lots of other stuff though.
She played a. Well, I'll talk to you about that later because we want to keep it family friendly. But she played an interesting character in Sons of Anarchy. She
Okay.
didn't last very long because of what she was doing. Then we have a movie called Evil Under the Sun, which I've heard of, never seen it.
I've
We
never
have
heard.
Parasite, which is another one of the horror movies trying to cash in on that horror genre.
Yeah, The Thing.
Then we have a movie called Eating Raoul,
Oh no, that was a good one.
which
That's
has
a
nothing to do with
critically
Raul Julia, by the
no,
way.
but it was a critically acclaimed film of the time.
Then we have a movie called Penitentiary 2, which I thought was going to be one of those late night Showtime movies, but this stars Mr. T and Ernie Hudson. So that is not the movie I was thinking of.
No,
But it
I don't
was.
remember that one either. Yeah.
Then there's a movie called Eye of the Jury.
Hmm.
I don't remember that one.
I don't either.
There's a movie called Paradise. I do remember that. Never saw it.
Vaguely remember it, but I don't have any information on it.
There's a great Steve Martin movie, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Then we have a movie called Escape Artist.
I do remember that, though. That was interesting.
Then we have a movie with Kenny Rogers called Six Pack.
I do recall that because Kenny Rogers was one of my favorite musicians of the time in the country area. Him and Dolly Parton were big.
Oh my gosh, Islands in the Stream.
Oh yeah,
they were any better than that.
Yeah, they were big.
And The Gambler.
I was big fans of those two.
Then we have The Challenge, which I think had David Carradine in it.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Kind of a pseudo martial arts movie.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing my list off to the side there. Class of 1984. Which was kind of the way I gathered is kind of like a precursor, like The Principal or The Substitute.
Yeah.
To the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Endangered Species. Have you ever seen that?
I did, but I don't recall that much about it.
Then we have I can't talk. Pink Floyd The Wall.
Oh well, obviously that was a huge film for that time.
Oh, big time, big time. Then we have Amityville 2. The Possession,
yeah,
which I never saw any of those movies, and they freaked me the hell out.
All those haunted movies, I don't like.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Shadow Riders. Shadow Riders. I hit on here twice.
Oh.
Android. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I've seen Android. Yeah,
I've never seen that.
Terrible special effects.
Oh yeah. Now this next movie is going to be a controversial movie for some folks. And people are going to get mad at me because I really like it a lot. But if you know me, you'll know why. Because I have it on all the time during this Halloween season. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So Halloween 3, Season of the Witch was produced by John Carpenter, not written or directed. But originally the idea for Halloween was going to be an anthology of movies. So every 2 years you'd have a serial killer, a Dracula, a Frankenstein, a werewolf, some type of thing that took place during Halloween.
Yeah.
So Halloween comes out. It's so hugely successful. They want a sequel. John Carpenter begrudgingly does it. It has a hand in it. Didn't direct it, but it had a hand in it. It does decent. They do Halloween 3. They kind of get back on the whole anthology thing.
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
It has Tom Atkins in it. My man, Tom Atkins. Straight up pimp in this movie. You'll know what I mean when you watch it.
Oh yeah.
Dan O'Haron, can't think of his name. He's the alien from Last Starfighter. He's the villain. Plays Connell Cochran. And then the guy that directed it was Michael Myers in Halloween 2. And in the which is pretty wild because the villain in Halloween 3 and the guy and the ambulance driver from Halloween 2 are in Last Starfighter together, directed by Michael Myers. But anyway, Halloween 3, sorry, I think I said that Michael Myers directed Halloween 3. He did not. He directed Last Starfighter. I was getting ahead of myself. So Halloween 3 is about a guy that owns a novelty shop. Thankfully, not a comic or toy shop because I'd be a little nervous.
Yeah.
And he gets these Halloween masks from a company called Silver Shamrock that has a very catchy jingle. And he's found kind of out of his mind saying they're going to kill us, they're going to kill us all, they're evil. And he's in this hospital that um, Tom Atkins is the doctor in. And the guy gets murdered by the most evil person on earth, a white dude in a suit. And it ends up being a robot. So the guy's daughter shows up trying to figure out what happened to her dad. Tom Atkins' character wants to kind of help out. So they go on this quest to find out what was going on. They go to this town in California, which was a nod to, I think, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, maybe the town name or something. And you find out the Silver Shamrock is this devious, evil company that they have this little disc on the back of the masks that has pieces of Stonehenge in the mask that's going to interact with this computer program that's going to make bad things happen to all the kids. And it's one big giant sacrifice. And the guy that owns the company, played by, he was also the old man in RoboCop, the chairman of the board. They called him
Gotcha.
the old man.
Yeah.
He's like a warlock or something. So they try to stop it, and you don't know if they truly stop it or not. But and people were like, "What the hell is this?" The only Michael Myers is in that is a commercial for Halloween, which is kind of cool because the main actor is sitting at a bar and they're doing like Halloween, the Halloween classic.
Oh,
You
isn't
know,
also all the masks and stuff kind of like a hint that the mask that he uses in the Halloween movies could be part of this whole thing?
that was something they kind of hinted at in the newer Halloween movies that never really went anywhere.
Oh,
It was kind of a conspiracy theory,
yeah.
kind of a little kind of maybe. Because that mask is actually a William Shatner mask that's
Yeah.
bleached, which is
Right.
freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So I love that movie. I think it's ripe for a remake. Silver Shamrock could be an app on your phone. So then we have Class Reunion, uh, which
That
was
was a
done by
good movie.
National Lampoon,
That
kind of
was a
like
good
a comedy movie.
Yeah, I
No
like
big, no big names in that one, but just kind of no Chevy Chase or any of those guys. Then we have Q, the Winged Serpent, which I've never seen or heard of.
That's a fantastic dragon movie. The special effects are very dated today. If you get a DVD, you can see the strings and things like that. But it's a phenomenal dragon movie. It's very unique, very different, very Asian, leaning towards the dragon and stuff like that. But it is an excellent story if you like dragon movies.
Then we have Man from Snowy River.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Then we have Jimmy the Kid, starring Gary Coleman. And if you guys don't know who Gary Coleman is, he was the star of Different Strokes.
That was his first movie, I think.
Was it?
I believe so.
Well, I know there was one where he went to like college really early. I can't remember where that was in the pecking order, but Gary Coleman was a huge thing in the 80s. God rest his soul. Then we have a movie called Alone in the Dark. Then we have a classic horror movie, Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh boy, Slumber Party Massacre.
Which it felt like that came out later, but it was in 1982.
Did that have Margot Kidder in it?
Oh, I don't think so. I just remember as a kid seeing the cover of the VHS, the rental store, and I'm like, I hope this is on HBO later.
It's a very HBO Skinemax type of film. I liked it.
Yes, a lot of tropes of
Yeah.
scantily clad women losing their clothes and getting.
Exactly. Yep.
Then we have They Call Me Bruce, which is a fun movie.
I like that movie actually.
Now we're kind of getting to the end of the list here because we don't want to go too long on time. Airplane 2, another classic comedy.
My partner loves those airplane movies. I don't particularly care for that kind of humor, but it did well for it to get a sequel. So, and William Shatner, I believe, is in the sequel.
He makes a cameo. Yeah, he's pretty awesome. And William Shatner's the man.
Yeah.
I love William Shatner. Then we have The Verdict.
Humor is Leslie Nielsen made that type of humor very famous in the 80s. So, what are you going to do?
The Verdict. Have you ever seen that? I think Paul.
I love The Verdict. Very good drama, legal drama with what's his name from the West? Those two
Paul
Western movies.
Newman.
Paul Newman, awesome, awesome legal drama. Struggling alcoholic, trying to do what he could for his client, win over a big corporation. Your typical David versus Goliath type situation.
Paul
Excellent
Newman's a
film.
phenomenal actor.
Oh
Just
yeah,
you know,
everything he's done is phenomenal.
Sophia's Choice.
Oh, another Academy Award winning darling for 1982.
Oh,
But
and when I hear Sophia's Choice,
yeah.
I think of that time that Ricky Gervais hosted like the Golden Globes or something.
Yeah.
He's like Sophia's Choice. You think by now she's made up her mind. I mean, come on. You know, that's what I think when I hear that.
Yeah.
Kiss Me Goodbye. That's what Terry says to us on Sundays.
Yeah.
Then we have Best Friends, which was Burt Reynolds, and I can't remember the co-star in it, but this one is interesting because it's based on the true life relationship of the writers of the movie, Barry Levinson and Valerie
Yeah.
Curtain.
It's about a writer struggling because he has a block and he's trying to get this script out, and it's his life and he's got a romantic situation going on. It's a good movie.
So that's my list of movies, and there's tons more that came out. But I just want you guys to know that 82 is a phenomenal year for movies. It's a
Huge.
phenomenal year in pop culture, and
Yeah.
it just it was like the framework of what was to come. Because we haven't even
did I
gotten
already say
Starface.
did I already say I won my MTV?
Yeah, MTV came out the year.
No, I won my MTV.
It's dead now. It's dead, Jim.
All right, I'm out of here. Bye.
But no, MTV was a big deal. I mean, it was 82 was like the perfect combination, the perfect storm of events. And just really, the world was in a recession, and the movies, the TV, and the music really took our minds off of that.
Was this a big year for breakdancing?
I want to say yes, but Breakin' didn't come out yet. I want to say Breakin's more like 84.
What about Parachute Pants? Was that big in 82?
That's 83, 84.
Oh, all right. I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I had some Parachute Pants, and I had a Michael Jackson zipper jacket.
Who didn't?
Cobra Commander. That's why he's a Cobra Commander, I guess. But it just 82 is such a great year. I mean, we came off of, like, in the last show we talked about 1977, of course, the big one in that Star Wars, 78, 79, 80, 81.
Oh yeah.
And it just really kind of led us into 82.
Oh yeah.
82, Steven Spielberg. Spielberg's got two great classic movies.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford's doing great work. I mean, it's really starting to lay down an even bigger foundation for what was to come for the 1980s.
Wasn't Buckaroo Banzai in 82?
85. 85.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I think it was 85.
All right.
But yeah, or 84, 85.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like there's so many, like 82 made it to where you could try different things in the rest of the 80s.
Yeah.
You could do noir movies, you could do sci-fi, you could do cops and robbers, you could do buddy cop, you could do unlimited comedies.
Yeah.
Because it just really launched Eddie Murphy. Richard Pryor was still in his zone, so to speak.
Hey, Dad.
Just Sylvester Stallone and Arnold really kind of catapulted them. Stallone was already a big star from Rocky.
Burt Reynolds was still doing good in a lot of stuff.
One of my favorite Burt Reynolds movies is a movie called Stick.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
That was one that was always on HBO.
Was that a hockey movie?
You're thinking of Paul Newman, Slapshot?
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, that was another Paul Newman movie. And then we got, I think in 83 or 84 is Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, Color of Money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just the 80s just kind of wrote, the 70s and 80s just kind of took the book on movies and shows and just TV shows and just like flipped it on its head and just made long-lasting things. Now, going back to what we said earlier, 1982 was the relaunch of G.I. Joe, something that's near and dear in our hearts for me and you, and a lot of other people. And then, of course, He-Man, and He-Man has a movie coming out this year. What do you think about the trailer for this He-Man movie as we start to wrap up this show?
I have a little bit of a trepidation about the trailer because obviously there's a period of the film that's going to take place on Earth, and I don't like that. I really wanted to have the film on Eternia, the entire thing, but they did that in the original He-Man Masters of the Universe movie. It started out in Eternia, went to Earth. Now we're starting out on Earth and we're going to Eternia. I will say there's a lot more characters in it that are accurate to the toy property, the brand, and the costumes look much more accurate to the brand. A lot of the vehicles look more accurate to the brand. A lot of the creatures look more accurate, like Cringer is more accurate. There's a lot of homages from what I've seen in the trailer, but from what I can hear right now, early projections are saying that it's not great, that it's okay, it's like a middle of the road type Rotten Tomatoes type score, and that it's not like 100%, it's like 60 or 68%. So it's doing about the same as what Mortal Kombat's doing. Mortal Kombat's around 68 70% as well, so that's not good, my opinion. But I hope it's not on Earth that much. I hope it's only for like 10, 15, 20 minutes on Earth, then the rest of the movie is on Eternia. That's my gut. But I think the casting looks good. I think the music looks good. I think the visual look good. The actor's not buff enough, I don't think, as He-Man, but what are you going to do?
I think it looks fun. I just need it to be fun and entertaining.
Well, yeah, of course.
I don't think it has the problem that the Odyssey has, where like the country of Greece is pissed off at the director. So I don't think like the Planet of Eternia is pissed off at the director for this one.
No. It's a popcorn movie. It's one of those escapism popcorn movies that I'm looking forward to this year because there's so many of them that I'm like, that's why this is the year again.
The thing is, like, folks, that every movie doesn't have to be The Godfather or Inception. Exactly. Some movies can just be fun. I love The 13th Warrior. I do. That movie bombed. And it's got flaws, I'll admit, but I would watch it. I think, David, I have the world record for viewings of 13th Warrior because for about 16 years at the store, from 5 to 7, we watched that movie. And that was kind of our go-to movie. Like, if we were slow, put in 13th Warrior, we do like $1,000. I don't know what it is, but it just happens. But it's one of those kind of like, it's almost like a coworker. It's just kind of like comfortable background noise.
Yeah, gotcha.
Certain scenes I always look at. But that movie bombed, and I love that movie. And it's a fun movie.
I don't base movies. I don't base movies on whether they're financially successful or critically successful. I base them on whether I enjoy them and whether I get something out of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, but like, I can usually tell, like in a trailer or a concept of a movie, if I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen Smoking Aces. It looks like a big, fun shoot 'em up movie.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't need like an ultra violent shoot up movie. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch Mad Max or something, or Expendables. But like the Odyssey, like I was all wanting to see that, and then I started reading about it and how like it doesn't match anything in Greek culture, and I'm like, I'm good. I think I'll pass on that. I'll stick with Troy. Troy's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's incredible in that movie as Achilles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think He-Man looks fun. It's just kind of wild that the thing that, to me, that's really neat. Excuse me as I take a drink of water here.
We've got a couple other good movies coming out before that. Next week is Lego Batman 2 or 3, whichever one it is. I can't remember which one it is. And then we have Star Wars Mandalorian Grogu, which I will be seeing an early preview viewing of that on Monday with my twin brother.
It's always fun when made-for-TV movies go to the theater. But I hope it does okay. I have no skin in the game. I'm checked out on Disney Star Wars. It might be my loss, might be my gain. I don't know. When they told me they don't need me as a fan, I was kind of like, cool. I'll spend my money on G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff that wants me as a fan. I hope it does well. I think I love season 1 and season 2. I was not real happy the way they did Gina Carano. Um,
Well, I think
I-
she's coming back, so we'll have to wait and see how that works out. But I
if
think
she
she's
ends up
coming
in
back.
this movie, I'll probably go see it.
Uh,
Because I said earlier, I kind of got in trouble for my support for her in this fight tomorrow night. So
gotcha.
might as well go all in, right?
Yeah.
We have Dune 3 that comes out in December. We have Avengers. Please don't pay attention to the last 5 years of movies coming out.
Ah,
That looks like it
Spider-Man
looks.
looks really good with the Punisher and the Hulk. Speaking of Punisher, did you watch One Last Kill?
Is
Man,
that
was
out
that a
yet?
shoot 'em up? Wow.
Is
That
that
came out
already?
on
Is that out now?
Yeah, it came out on Tuesday. What a
Ooh.
blood fest that is. They're leaning into the Maganucci story.
It's funny because Marvel got all politically correct with the Punisher, and they were upset that soldiers and police officers were wearing the Punisher badge, and they try to make
Yeah,
it some political thing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, no, it's just a freaking cool logo, like a skull and crossbones for pirates.
yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't mean everybody's a Somali pirate. It's just
Exactly.
a cool logo.
Yeah,
And
it's a great
now we
movie.
have like it went from no Punisher books to like three,
Yeah.
and the current book written by Ben Percy, I really enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's
Uh,
good. You're right.
yeah, it's just a fun book. I mean, well, as fun as a vigilante book can be, but
But it's leaning into the Max Punisher with what's his name from the boys doing
Garth Ennis.
yeah. So it's
Oh,
interesting.
okay. So that's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah. It's called
Yeah,
The Punisher One Last Kill.
I love him as Punisher.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Shane is an incredible Punisher.
John
I would just love
Barenthal.
to see him.
John Barenthal.
I would just love to see Shane show up as Punisher on Walking Dead. Hey Rick. Oh, it's not like this, Shane. It's not, bam, bam, bam. All right, I'm in charge now. I'm like, oh wow, it was all a dream. Bobby in the shower, all over
Oh
again. Another
gosh,
Dallas
so good.
reference.
So there's a lot of
Um,
good stuff. The Supergirl, it does not look that great, but we'll wait and see. Lobo looks really good in that. Another Hunger Games movie. The story, Woody Harrelson's character is going to get the spotlight in this one. There's what else? Like I said, there's a Bluey movie. There's another Toy
we
Story
had
5.
Michael Jackson come out.
Michael Jackson already came out. And so there's
Is
a
it
lot.
true? Is it true that Terry's going to take us to see that if we get the subscriber count up on Toy Talk?
I don't know. I think they're doing very good. It's like 4,000 on that. I wish I had 4,000 on my podcast, but I didn't buy any subscribers, so I don't know.
Um, yeah, Michael Jackson's out. Mortal Kombat. There was a Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a decent year for movies. I think, like you said, this is the telltale year for it.
yeah,
To see if we're coming back to it. And I think we are.
yep.
Because I think the big problem with movies has been in the last several years, the Harvey Weinstein Hollywood, when they're not abusing people
Oh yeah.
or going to islands, they're just not putting out good content that
Yeah.
anybody wants to see.
Yep.
Like no one wants to see remakes of stuff that was great 5 years ago. I mean, that's how
There's
how
about
silly it
4 remakes.
is.
There are about 4 remakes in the pipeline right now that are ones that I want to see, and I won't get into it right now. But a lot of it's from nostalgia from the '80s. So I'm looking forward to it all. But it's 10:02. Do you want to cut this closed?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end the show, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. I know these movie lists get a little long. DanCast is not always about movies, but we were just kind of on the subject. We'll probably take a break from movies and revisit this in a few weeks or a few months just to kind of digest this. Next week, I might try to interview somebody. We'll see. But I want to thank you, David, for being on the show.
My pleasure.
It's been fun. I love having you on the show, and I love being on yours.
Yeah.
And I'll see you on Sunday at Toy Talk at 2 p.m. on Terry's channel.
Yep.
Action
Toys
Toys.
Media.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to pull a David and get the channel wrong. But no, we look forward to talking about all the stuff we talk about on that show. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank the people that participated in the chat. All the people that are watching, please hit like, subscribe, and hit notifications. And please share it and tell people about it.
There you go.
So I want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend. I don't really have a good ending catchphrase yet, but I'm working on some stuff. We're doing like the, focus groups. We make sure it's perfect. But be kind to each other, love each other, because we're all we got at the end of the day. So this show is about movies. Hopefully, something in our list inspired you to go watch or gave you a great memory.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about movies: is going to the theater, the smell of the theater, the butter popcorn,
Yeah.
the curtains pulling back, and the lights hitting the projector, and just being transported to a distant world, the past, the future, whatever it may be, and escapism, and just great storytelling that we can talk about on podcast years later. So, David, thank you. Everybody in the Daniverse, thank you for watching. And look forward to talking to you guys Sunday at Toy Talk and in the future. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.